Hey everyone, welcome to the Daily Word. I'm really glad that you've joined me. And for our Daily Word today, we're going to start in the book of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 52, our reading there. Then we're going to actually tie in with John 19 and also kind of reach back a bit and make a connection with chapter 12 of the Gospel of John. So first of all, if you would, listen now. This is Isaiah 52, 13 and 14. See, my servant will prosper. He will be highly exalted. But many were amazed when they saw him. His face was so disfigured, he seemed hardly human. And from his appearance, one would scarcely know he was a man. So this, at the end of Isaiah 52, is the beginning of this prophecy of God through Isaiah concerning his suffering servant. And we see here the opening statement is that his servant will be exalted, his servant will prosper, and we'll actually see this echoed tomorrow at the end of Isaiah 53. And as we're looking at this, it is difficult to understand this, to make this switch of this turn of thinking between prospering and being exalted, and then, boy, the next thing that we hear is he is also disfigured. He's startling even to look at. He doesn't even hardly look human. Surely this is pointing forward to Jesus Christ, pointing to the abuse, the flogging that he would take for us before he went to the cross. So we've lined up here this passage with John 19, and I want to invite you to listen to verses 1 through 3. Then Pilate had Jesus flogged with a lead-tipped whip. The soldiers wove a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and they put a purple robe on him. "Hail, King of the Jews," they mocked, as they slapped him across the face. Now, this is unpleasant to think about, but friends, this lead-tipped whip, there was a cruel, evil purpose to it, and that is that it was designed to actually tear the flesh as one would be whipped or flogged with this. He was brutalized. This crown of thorns was jammed cruelly on his head and would have surely caused deep cuts and a great amount of bleeding. And he was also struck repeatedly by the guards, and so he was surely disfigured as he was brought back out by Pilate. And yet, even given that, understanding that, yet he is exalted, yet he will prosper. And of course, we know that this means that he will achieve our salvation and that he will be exalted in his resurrection and his ascension, that he will ascend to the right hand of God the Father Almighty. But friends, don't miss, though, the glory of God here in his suffering. Jesus gives himself as a holy sacrifice for us. If we reach back to chapter 12, in verse 23, we read this. Jesus replied, "Now the time has come for the Son of Man to enter into his glory." What does he mean by this? What is it to enter into his glory? He, friends, is talking about his crucifixion. Verse 24, "I tell you the truth, unless a kernel of wheat is planted in the soil and dies, it remains alone. But its death will produce many new kernels, a plentiful harvest of new lives." See, he's talking about his cross, about giving his life, that life would be given to many in his suffering and in his death. We see the goodness of God. We see the glory of God. We see how good and loving and faithful and merciful and forgiving is our God. And so in this way, friends, we can understand how it is that the Lord's servant would prosper, would be exalted, but also would be disfigured. It was for us, as we'll see in our reading as we move forward into Isaiah 53, it was by his wounds that we are healed. Thanks be to God. Amen. Amen. And friends, till we have a chance to speak again, I pray that God would bless you and that he would keep you.